Greetings, wisdom keepers, wisdom seekers. Welcome back to Wisdom Drops, your source for daily drops of wisdom and savvy cat astrology. My name is Tanya Lasagna, back with another video layering together all the nodal noodles and celestial sauce into something digestible. And today we are discussing the Mercury retrograde in Gemini, which will be completing in 2 weeks' time-ish from the time that I'm filming this. I think it's June 3rd. It's a Friday that Mercury is actually starting to go direct. And, this is a regular thing that happens pretty consistently throughout any given year. And with that said, that doesn't mean that it doesn't have an influence on us, right? So today's video will be talking about the significance of Mercury's motion retrograde through the signs of Gemini and Taurus, and how she will be moving forward into the sign of Gemini upon completion. However, at the point that Mercury actually stops going retrograde, Mercury is in the sign of Taurus and within a 4-degree orb from the North Node. So I'm going to interpret this for y'all, and then we're going to go through what it means if Taurus and Gemini are any given one of your houses, okay? Before I do, make sure you like this video if you haven't already, and I do have a website that is fresh and up, y'all, that I wish you would check out if you resonate with my content, because it tells you more about my work and my services, which you can purchase with me, and I deliver you entirely private recorded readings or live, depending on your investment range in yourself. And it's summer, it's a good time to give yourself some love, or about to be summer. And I really just want to make sure that people know that I have services available that are customized to your personal chart. As deep as I go in these general forecasts, it ain't nothing compared to your personal birth chart. So you can check out the link down below. I have it on the screen in front of you, wisdomdropsastrology.com. Wisdom and drops have Z's, astrology spelled regularly. And with that said, thanks for everybody who subscribes, who's new, who likes this video, and leaves a comment down below because it makes me smile. Okay, so Mercury in retrograde, first and foremost. I've done several videos on this you can check out. But Mercury is the planet of communication and thought, and it's how we tend to process information. It's how information and also just things in general move. So it's a sort of transience, right, associated with Mercury. It's very mutable inherently, and it actually rules 2 mutable signs as a result, Gemini and Virgo. So you can think of the person or the entity, the goddess, the god that is Mercury, is very witty, very intelligent, and sometimes conniving and trickster energy for sure. Mercury in ancient times also had an association over thieves, as well as people who are highly skilled. So craftspeople just as much as robbers, right? So Mercury is a mixed bag. That's a good summary, I think, of Mercury. And when Mercury goes retrograde, Mercury is actually challenging us and revealing for us deeper levels of information. So while information and words and communication might not go smoothly, they might not go according to plan, most likely they won't, they're going to reveal something deeper to you, or at least offer you an opportunity to see a deeper message behind it all. So there's definitely a good chance that you've been dealing with a lot of reflection or processing or introspection at this time. And you might have even been doing this with other people, since Mercury is going through the sign of Gemini, which is about friends. So if you're a human out there, you've probably been reflecting over your friend group, people you hang out with regularly, different sorts of conversations that you have, maybe the tone of conversations that you have, or the type of information that you discuss. Maybe you're somebody really reflecting over if it's not as much socially oriented, which it could be a fusion or any number of these things, right? But you could be also reflecting over how you want to have more skill in your life and be more skillful, or maybe how words are more important to you than you previously thought, or reassessing your words and how you use your words. Okay, that's another possibility. So many different opportunities for how it could manifest. And the retrograde portion of it is all about the reflection and reassessment, just as much as it is throwing like kinks in the plan or things that you wouldn't have otherwise thought of out there. Okay, make sure you like this video if you haven't already, because sometimes people skip ahead, and I want to make sure you know to support this channel in exchange for the groovy free content, and I do appreciate each of you very much who does. So there's that. the other thing I want to mention to you about this is that Mercury, like I said before, is not just retrograde in Gemini, but Mercury is also retrograding through Taurus. And this is where Mercury is going to stop and station direct and turn back around the other way on not this coming Friday, but the next, right? So over the next couple weeks, I encourage y'all to think about all the stuff that I just said. And I also encourage you to think about the Taurian aspect of this, because we just had that eclipse, like what, 3 weeks ago from the point of filming this, okay, in the sign of Taurus. And like I said earlier, Mercury is stationing direct within a 4-degree orb of that north node, which, you know, plays a big role or a big deal in the eclipse. So it's like the fate and the destiny and the karma, and the also just what is going to serve you to like grow more of that energy at any given moment, or to focus your attention more at any given moment. And this is again happening in the sign of Taurus. So if you want to think about Taurian type topics in your life, that's probably a good thing to be thinking about. Taurus is all about, you know, people just ran by like getting fit and whatnot. That's definitely like part of Taurus. Taurus is earthly. It's about the body. It's about the tangibility of it all, right? But it's also about like the earthly realm and the most natural of the natural, and like maintaining and conserving that stuff, right? I was trying to get this wild ginger in the camera view for y'all today because I just thought it's so beautiful. I don't know if you can really see it, but there's like a bunch of heart-shaped leaves back there that are like super gorgeous, and that's wild ginger. It's a native. It's beautiful. To the Midwest at least, and Canada. So anyway, Taurus is about the earthy stuff, and I did do an eclipse video on that if you want to check it out. But it's also about your materiality. So yeah, finances and value and worth are coming up at this time for reflection. And you know, Taurus is also about the value of it all. I've done a lot of videos on Venus, and Venus is the ruler of Taurus, and she played an interesting role in the last eclipse we just had in Taurus, okay? But I do want to make sure that you know that that's kind of another point of reflection right now. So if you're thinking about all that stuff, join the club. I think most of us are right now, just because of the influence. But it could, just as much as it's about finance, it could also just be about like your values, because Venus is about value, not just about monetary value, but like moral value, or like principles, like what you stand for. So you're probably reflecting over that too. And I think like upon that June 3rd day, around that window, around that time within a week, you'll have more clarity on whatever it is you've been reassessing over the last, you know, few weeks here that Mercury's been retrograde. So yeah, misunderstandings are more likely, but when it lands, the energy lands in Taurus. So it's been visiting Gemini, but it lands in Taurus. So it's ultimately a combination of whatever Taurus is and Gemini is in your personal chart. So now I'm going to fly through if, you know, Taurus and Gemini are your blank houses in your chart. Of course, a personal reading, which you can reach out to me or any other astrologer you resonate with by going to wisdomdropsastrology.com. That's just for me. But you know, getting a personal reading will tell you a lot more about this stuff. And if you haven't already, of course, like the video. Thank you. Okay, so if Gemini is, no, let's start with Taurus. If Taurus is your first house and Gemini is your second house, and I'm just going to use whole sign houses for this, you're going to think about this like, hey, this all began for me and ends for me in Taurus. What it really comes down to is me, myself, if Taurus is your first house. So if you're a Taurus ascendant, let's say, okay, and you, Taurus, have particularly been probably resonating with what I said at the beginning of this about how your skills, your finances, your personal values, and your own thoughts within friend groups, like how do you value those friends in conversation? How do you value them with your words? And you particularly might be looking at how do you turn your consciousness or your thoughts or your skills into something that you can monetize. So that's very likely if you're a Taurus out there, or reflecting over how you've been doing it and how you want to change it. Next, if you're a Gemini, that would mean that Taurus is in your 12th house and Gemini is your first house. So you've been reassessing a lot to do with yourself throughout this period. But when the Mercury goes direct, you Gemini rising people might be feeling like this awareness that you come to when it goes direct in your 12th house of Taurus is really more of like a hidden subconscious thing coming to consciousness. Like maybe it was something you didn't really understand about yourself before, or you didn't like think about before, like you just didn't think about yourself in a certain type of way, or you didn't even think like, oh yeah, I have XYZ trauma or XYZ issue that I need to deal with as a Gemini. Like you probably didn't even realize that before, but this whole cycle has actually been working on yourself, your first house, and when it goes direct, it's bringing your 12th house, which is previously like subconsciously hidden stuff, to the light. So if you're a Gemini out there, I think more of this is about like your own psychological healing and transformation than anything else. And also maybe realizing like subconscious fears, that could also totally be a thing if you're a Gemini out there. Next, if you are a Cancer, this would put this, it would be your 12th house and your 11th house. So Mercury's going direct in your 11th house if you're a Cancer of Taurus, and it was also retrograding in your 12th house of Gemini. So when you have this influence, it's really coming down at the end of the day to your 11th house. So your groups and your networks that you're a part of, your dreams for your life, your aspirations, what you really want to do at the end of the day, what you could do if nothing else was hindering you, and also your good luck. So you could really be a sign out there, Cancers, who is experiencing more good luck, and that good luck is coming to you through that period of introspection that we just went through. And because it is your 12th house as well, Cancer, you also want to think about it like, what did you like lose or let go or shed or cleanse yourself of that allowed for that new good fortunate luck that is the 11th house, or maybe a new network connection to come in. That's probably something that's going to resonate with y'all during these last few weeks. And it's about to be your season as well, Cancers, soon enough here. So, you know, I would just stay the course, and you're probably going to have a really nice, I would say, like rejuvenation or restart in this next few months. Okay, cool. Thanks, Cancer. Make sure you like this video. Thank you. Okay, moving on to who's the next sign? Leo. If you're a Leo, so this is going to be what, your 10th house, Leo? Yeah, your 10th house and your 11th house. Let me just make sure I'm not, look at me giving you the sign. I should have just kept it with, if this is your blah 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 house. This is where I gotta do some mental jujitsu. So if you're a Leo out there, it's your 10th house because that's a fixed sign, and your 11th house. Yeah, I was right. So your 10th and your 11th. What it comes down to ultimately for you, Leo, is your 10th house, which is your, you know, legacy and what you're known for. It's your public reputation, and it's what you stand for in the world. It's what people think of when they think of you. So that's kind of the end game for you Leos out there. But what it also comes down to that's been helping you get there is that community and that network that you're a part of. So you've probably been having a lot of like interesting connections come through lately. I think Leos have probably been really busy in their networks, and not just like their homies or their close friends, but just people they know, like acquaintances or professional relationships. You've probably been expanding your network. You've probably been reassessing even how you network. And somebody in your community or network might have told you a different way to meet new people or to link up with professionals who you need to organize yourself around or with. And I think that because this is landing in your 10th house with that, you know, Mercury stationing direct in Taurus, it's actually going to have a more significant impact on your long-term legacy and what you do. Some Leos out there might actually be having a massive career change and realizing at the end of this cycle that this is going to serve you to do this versus what you have been doing previously. So that's just something to consider if you're a Leo out there. Okay, next sign, you're going to be Virgo. So Virgo, that was the 10th and the 11th. This is going to be your 9th and your 10th. So what it comes down to as a Virgo is your 9th house, which is Taurus, using whole sign astrology again. So if it goes into your 9th house at the end of the day, what it's really about for you is your values, and not just like what you value in a moral sense, but also like a belief sort of sense. Like I was thinking about it as I was doing a reading for somebody the other day. The 9th house is the house, it's like it answers the question, what world do you live in? Because it's about your belief systems, and it's about where you kind of position yourself mentally at a global perspective sort of level. So if you're from a certain place mentally or literally geographically, in the physical, it's going to influence how you see things at large in the big picture, right? So this is what it's about for you at the end of the day if you're a Virgo. It's about you know, I'm seeing things differently now upon reassessing it. And you had to use that 10th house to reassess it ultimately. There's this super cute squirrel looking at me. Can you see them? They're like really adorable. They're like right there. Oh, they're so cute. Look at them moving. But I hope you saw them. If you saw the squirrel, put a little squirrel emoji down below so I could see that you saw it, because that's cute. It made me smile. But yeah, so anyway, you know, it came down for you Virgos as like your 10th house. Like you had to go ahead and reflect over, who am I now in the public? And I think a lot of Virgos, you might have also been changing it up in your public sphere, or what you like stand for in the public sense of things in your kind of outer life. You might have reflected, and maybe like you're deciding, you know, Virgos are pretty private generally, not always. It totally depends on the chart. That's like a very general statement. But you might have been reassessing like how things have been public for you and now you don't want them to be, or the exact opposite, how you've been really private with something about yourself, like an attribute of your own identity, because Mercury is your ruling planet, let's not forget, and how maybe you want to like show that to the world now, whereas previously you didn't and you kept it all to yourself. Okay, so that's the thing I want you to remember, is that you're probably going through that little reflection of like, something wasn't known and now it is, or it was known and now it's not, kind of thing. You need to like change it up, that you're being called to, not need to. It'll just happen. Don't worry about it, Virgo. I know you worry a lot. Don't worry. Okay, moving on, if you can help it. Libras. Okay, Libra, this is going to be, what is this going to be for you? This is your 8th house and your 9th house. So what it comes down for you as is, it's ultimately an 8th house issue. It's ultimately about your loss and your trauma and your pain, or other people's resources that you gain, or your shared resources. So you've probably been reflecting a lot, if you're a Libra out there, about the trauma that you've either experienced or inflicted on other people, because the 8th house is the house of trauma and emotional healing, as well as an opportunity there. So I encourage all the Libras, if you can, make amends or do the right thing right now, because you have the choice to do the right thing and also heal, especially as it relates to friends or neighbors or people who you are locally connected to, because Mercury rules a more local environment. So you can choose to do that right now and probably spare yourself a lot of shitty karma in the process. So with that being an ultimately 8th house issue, it's also a good opportunity for you to work on healing your own psyche as much as you can. So if you're thinking of going to therapy, good idea at this time, good influence at this time to do that, for sure. And ultimately, in the process of that, you could end up healing your 9th house, which is about your belief system. So when you heal your subconscious under this influence, or your own like psyche, if you want to put it that way or think about it that way, you could also think about helping it. It consequently helps your belief system and your outlook on the larger world. Like I was talking about the 9th house for Virgo, it's like your outlook for the world. So that's cool. I wish you luck and much success in that, Libra. Moving on to, what's the next sign? Scorpio. So Scorpio, this is going to be your 7th house and your 8th house. So you, like Libra in one way, have been dealing with the trauma, and like what else is new as a Scorpio, right? But like you are ultimately coming down into the relationship portion of this, because it goes direct in your 7th house of Taurus. So you've been dealing with the Scorpio at a level of, you know, it's going to be like, hey, I got to figure this jam out when it comes to relationships. And Mercury retrograde there is ultimately helping you figure this jam out when it comes to relationships. You also just had a super incredible, stellar, like massive mega eclipse in your 7th house, Scorpio. So this whole relationship bit or emphasis is like not a surprise to you right now whatsoever. And it's also helping you like come into possibly more karmic, like in a good sense, relationships when it comes to business partnerships or even life partners. That's cool. That could be a thing for you right now, Scorpio. If it's you, congratulations. But you know, it's really about like how you relate with people and how you choose to be in relationship with people. And you've probably realized like who around you is good at helping you process your own subconscious psychological like compost bin, if you will, or trauma bin, or whatever you want to call it, and who is like not, whether they're not built for it, they have no interest in it, no capacity in it, or they're just a different flavor, for lack of a better word. You're coming to more like clarity around all of that right now, Scorpio. Make sure you like this video, Scorpio, if you haven't already. Thank you. Okay, moving on. If you are what's the next sign? Sagittarius. This is going to be in your 6th and 7th house. So if you're a Sagittarius, it's ultimately about your mental health and well-being, your physical health and well-being, your habits, and also your nutrition, like kind of goes with the physical health and mental health, but like nutrition and habits and like not hobbies like for fun, but things that you do just like consistently, like your routines and stuff. And reassessing that. If you're a Sag, you're probably like, I need to spice it up, which is no surprise because you're a Sag. And that's kind of what you do. That's what you're known for because you're a Sagittarius. But it is about that right now for you. And it is about like, hey, maybe you're going vegan, maybe you're not going vegan, maybe you're going vegetarian, maybe you're going back to eating animal products. I don't know. But it could also just be like you're deciding to work out and you're actually able to keep with it because it's like Mercury just came down in your 6th house. And it's more like definitive. And your 6th house is Taurus, which is a fixed sign. So it has more of like a steadfast or continuation ability that goes alongside it. Okay, Sag. And it could have been through a friend that actually helped put you up on a good new like workout routine or a healthy habit that feels aligned with you. Maybe it's nutrition or whatever, like I was just saying. But the 7th house was at play there, and Mercury is a very social planet and also the ruler of your 7th house. So you could definitely have like a positive friend influencing you right now for the better. Or maybe through like a yucky introspection that they took you through, it allowed you to get to this better place. That's another thing because Mercury was retrograde. So cool. Congratulations if you're a Sag. Sounds pretty nifty. Make sure you like this video, Sag. Moving right along to Capricorn. If you're Capricorn, this is your 5th house of Taurus and your 6th house of Gemini. So Cap, you've probably been reflecting over that health situation because there's that 6th house at play, like your intake of nutrition and your mental intake, because it is ruled by Mercury, and also your habits. And you're a Capricorn, so you're pretty aware of like whatever you're doing habitually, let's say, generally speaking. You can definitely have a melancholia or like a depression sort of thing going on at this time with the 6th house influence of a retrograde with the mental planet of Mercury there. So if you've been feeling a little blue or whatever, I would think that hopefully upon Mercury going direct in the sign of Taurus, which is your 5th house of happiness, joy, and play, as well as good luck, that you're actually going to have some better influence coming along your way. You know what I mean? Maybe it helps you get a better mental state. Maybe it helps you get a little more involved with just a hobby or a habit, like something fun that you enjoy, like going out. And I don't know what you enjoy, so I don't want to like, put my version of that on there. But whatever it is for you that's pleasurable, that's probably going to be what you're like aligning more with. And you could even have a little bit of a flirt going on. You could have like a nice little relationship come out of this, Capricorn, just because of your 5th house, with Mercury there. Even just through friendships, you're likely to enjoy like having fun and playing with friends more than you would have otherwise. Okay. So I think that that's a cool opportunity on offer for you as a Capricorn at this time. And like I say, if nothing else, it's just like you having more fun doing something that you enjoy doing, So that's kind of cool. I think you had to go through some mental processing though with that 6th house Mercury there. Probably like a lot of like trying to fix your mental habits or mental like thoughts, like recurring thoughts. Probably having to fix that has been a big part of that, or like I don't want to say fix, but like support that has probably been a big part of this for you as a Capricorn this last cycle. Moving right along to who's the next one? Wow, I just totally had like a brain fart. That's funny. Aquarius. Okay, Aquarius. We're coming in on closing the signs out. But Aquarius, this is going to be your 4th house and your 5th house. So ultimately, like Capricorn was ultimately to get you back to what you care about and have fun, like the 5th house. For you, it's ultimately coming back to the 4th house because Taurus is your 4th house. So it's like coming back to self and what you really stand for. A lot of what I said in the beginning about values probably really relates to you as an Aquarius right now. So you're ultimately, as an Aquarius, really coming into thinking about like, okay, what do I actually stand for? And Aquariuses are known to stand for something. You know what I mean? You always got something that you stand for, even if you're not like out there beating a drum over it, so to speak. You personally embody something that you stand for. It's just part of your character. It's part of like who you are and how people understand you and interpret you as an Aquarius. So I would say for all the Aquariuses out there, this is ultimately helping you just reassess and refine some things. As fixed as you are in your ways as an Aquarius, this is probably you reassessing and thinking about something that you previously felt really firm on in a whole new way. And it definitely came about through either just a passion project or a hobby, or even like a romantic relationship that you had with somebody, because Mercury also retrograded back into Gemini. And so it lands in your personal values and what you believe in and whatever. But it was through the process of your romance or your fun, your hobby, your fifth house, right? That was actually allowing you to witness that. Okay, so Aquarius, thank you. Be sure you like this video before you leave. Moving on to Pisces. So if you're a Pisces, this is going to be in your, what are we talking about here? It is through your fifth. If for Aquarius, it was your fifth and your fourth and your fifth. So for you, it's your third and your fourth. Is that correct? Yes, that's correct, because Gemini is your fourth. So for you as a Pisces, this is more about your mental thoughts and your communication, which is pretty typical of the Mercury Aquarius. There's a puppy. Hi, pup. She's precious. So anyway, this is about your mental, like your local mind, your thoughts, and how you articulate to people, how you articulate to those you know in your life, but also your own mental process, your own like thoughts and communications to yourself. So that's that Mercury in that third house influence, generally speaking. And, you know, for you as a Pisces, that's coming in even more pronounced, because at the end of the day, Taurus is your third house and Gemini is your fourth house. So you've had to reflect over your inner self, your innermost being or whatever, as that fourth house influence was there for you. And you had to go and say, oh, now I understand more about myself. And then as Mercury retrogrades back into Gemini, which is your third house, you're like, oh my gosh, I totally messed that up. I'm sorry. I had a feeling I messed something up there. If you're a Pisces, Pisces is your first house, Aries is your second house, Taurus is your third house. No, I was right. I was right. Shit, I got myself tripping over here. Okay, so anyway, rewind, Pisces. I had a Pisces moment, because I'm not even a Pisces, but I was doing your thing. So it is your third house that we're landing in. That's ultimately what it comes down to. So ignore my like thinking that was a mistake. So ultimately it's about your third house, like I was saying, which is your own communication with yourself. But you had to go through the process of the Gemini, which is the fourth house influence, to get to that. So it's about reassessing like your own innermost, you know, sense of self, your own core of your own being. And then it like comes out in your ability to like communicate better with that Taurus being the final landing spot, okay, of it all. So it's about like how you talk with other people, how you relate with your own self through your own thoughts and like mental actions. But it's also about how you like choose to act in your local community and environment, because Taurus is your third house, which has to do with just that, your local environment, your neighborhood, your kind of community or whatever. So if you're a Pisces, you might be reassessing and reflecting on, or just changing, flat out changing how you relate in your local environment. Okay, that make sure you like this video, Pisces, before you leave. Thanks. Moving on to Aries. If you are an Aries, this is happening in your second and third houses. So it had to go through your third house, Aries, in order to get back to your second house. And for you as an Aries, you're going to resonate a lot with what I said in the beginning, because it does come back down to value for you. Not only like physical value, but like personal value and your sense of personal self-worth and self-value. So Aries out there could be going through some reflection over what your worth is, what your value is, what your own personal like values are, period, as an Aries, and what you have, like reflecting over what you have, and also what you like personally own and possess, whether that's a consciousness that you possess or like a tangible thing that you possess. It's about your own possessions, period. So definitely think about that as an Aries. It's not only what you're gonna just, I'm not telling you think about it like you have to think about it. You're just gonna be thinking about it. And what helped you get there was through your own thoughts and your own thinking with that Gemini retrograde, in your third house as an Aries. And probably your local pals, like your local chums, your local people you hang out with, your neighbors, even, okay, or your siblings for that matter. So you could have had a sibling say something to you that really made you think a different sort of way. So that's a thing. I encourage all of you to, just be on the lookout for awarenesses and epiphanies as it relates to what you already own, what you want to own, what you value, and what you have that is of value. Okay, moving along to Taurus. Did we start with you? We did. That's it. So Aries, make sure you like this video before you click off. And everybody who's been around, make sure you like this video before you leave. Leave me a little comment, a little love down below in the comment section if you want to, because it's fun to read your reflections on this video. And I do readings. So you can check out wisdomdropsastrology.com and book a session with me, and I will do that for you and look at your personal chart and tell you everything that I possibly can in an hour's time. With that said, thank you for all the support, the love. Hope everybody is doing well out there and enjoying the spring weather, whatever that is for you, based on your geography. And thanks for all the support. With that said, through next time, until next time, may the stars be with you. Peace.